Welcome back to the Raiders franchise as we are back at home after last week's crazy overtime game against the Green Bay Packers where Deshaun went for a career-high 411 yards passing. Fortunately in that game though, we did sustain a major injury. If you didn't catch the very end of last episode, we did reveal that Josh Jacobs has broken his collarbone along with DeAndre Hopkins' broken collarbone from earlier this year. It's going to be out for 7 weeks, but it's going to be fine. We have Alex Venable, Alex Peralta, and we're going to see a lot more of them get opportunities in the ground game. We're going to see if one of those two can really break out, have an impact or something. As for our opponents, we are taking on the Houston Texans, and I think this is a fun matchup to hop in, seeing CJ Stroud and the rising Texans come to town. It's a big-time AFC showdown between two of the up-and-coming teams in the conference. It's Raiders and Texans up next. CJ Stroud has his boys coming onto the field, and Stroud so far this season has been exactly as advertised, a 13-3 touchdown interception ratio, and he has played himself into a very nice start to the season. The Texans around him, though, have struggled a little bit as they will go play action to start the game, and CJ Stroud will take a first play shot over the middle and miss his mark. Stroud to throw on second down will go up top, and there is Jacoby Myers, the Raider receiver we traded in the offseason, and he is looking to have his revenge game as Davis takes the carry on the outside. That is a rookie running back Davis, who is replacing the injured Dameon Pierce, as there's Jacoby Myers with a second catch already. Third down, they set up a screen for Davis, and Davis breaks a tackle. He didn't read his blocks very well, but he broke the tackle, so it doesn't really matter as Davis gets the carry again, cuts inside, doesn't have much to go, gets a yard on the play as Stroud is back in the shotgun, and they set up a screen right side this time, and it's deflected away, and Max Crosby got a hand on that one. Play action now as Stroud takes a shot over the middle to Myers, incomplete. Texans settle for a field goal, and the kick is up and no good. The promising first drive ends poorly, and now the Raiders take over with very good field position as Alex Venable takes the carry. It's going to be a pretty split backfield between Venable and Peralta as we throw outside on the first play through the air, and Michael Mayer has it for the first down. Now we go Peralta, who's got a big hole up the middle, and Alex Peralta gets inside the 10 down to the 6-yard line. Didn't have the speed to finish that one off, but he gets us all the way close to the end zone as Josh Moss powers it ahead for 2 yards. It's going to be at the 4-yard line, and that's going to be a touchdown. Deshaun to Jaden Sharu, and no Josh Jacobs, no problem on the ground for this Raiders offense as we go down the field in just a handful of plays and get a 7-0 lead. Stroud will throw over the middle, and that is a catch first down, and Stroud is dealing over the middle. And he goes back there once again on first down, and he has Jacoby Myers with his third catch of the game. And now in second down, they go back to Jacoby Myers. It's caught short of the marker. It's going to be 3rd and 1. Under center, they go Davis's way, and Davis gets the first down past midfield, and Stroud stays under center as Jacoby Myers with 4 early catches in this game. They're trying to get him involved early and often, and he really wants to have a great game against the team that traded him away. As that's a brutal shot taken. He already dropped the ball. He did not need to take that shot. It's going to be 3rd and 10. They set a screen for Davis, and Davis gets the first down. Devin Bush chases him down for the tackle. But they've been utilizing this screen game effectively as an RPO, and it's going to be Dalton Schultz with a short grab. And now Stroud, that's a great deflection. Nate Hobbs, great tight coverage there. And now the screen set up once again, and I think they did it one too many times, and it's going to be a field goal try this time. The kick is up and good. It's going to be Texans 7-3 as the kickoff will go deep. Kalen Shanny hasn't had a big return yet this year, but Shanny will take this from the end zone. And Kalen Shanny has a lane up the middle, and he just gets caught at the 43. One guy away from getting a touchdown as they go with a throw outside. Shanny, we want to get him the ball a little bit more. I think he's warmed up now. 2nd down and 8. The Deshaun will have a keeper, and he draws it up the middle, and Deshaun will have a first down, and we are past midfield. Play action to Peralta as Deshaun with a lot of time in the pocket. Eventually it runs out, and Will Anderson gets the sack and now it's going to be second and very long. DeShong hit as he's thrown, incomplete, 3rd and 22. And now we need a big play if we want to convert, but it's not going to happen. That's Timothy Steele, the first-round pick, getting a sack. And the Texans start their drive off with a false start. I do want to credit what D'Amico Ryans has done with Stingley, Peachtree, Will Anderson, now adding Timothy Steele. He's on first down. It's going to be Jacoby Myers with a 5-yard catch to end the first quarter. That's 5 catches in the first for him. As they go Davis on the outside. Good patience to cut outside. And there's Marietta bringing him down. And Titus Howard is injured. That's going to be a big injury as Max Crosby could have a little bit of potential to run wild. But speaking of running wild, it's Davis with a stiff arm. And Davis is showing out in his first career start. 2 running backs who are young making their first career starts. Tyree Wilson now injured. That's a bad sign for the Raiders as they throw underneath. Caught just a few yards, and it's going to be 2nd and 5. Play action Stroud. He's going to go outside, and that's going to be caught. And that's a first down. 12-yard line, spreading the field. Stroud, a lot of time in the pocket. Underneath, it's going to be caught. To the 3-yard line they go. That's Tank Dell with the catch. And Stroud, outside, caught, touchdown. That's Dalton Schultz, the former Cowboy, who's become a great red zone target for this Texans team. Raiders now with the ball on offense, 24-yard line. They hand off Peralta, and he starts his drive off with a 7-yard carry. Nice job from the O-line, getting him some good blocking as Sharu makes a tough grab. It's going to be a first down. I feel like Sharu's gotten so much better this season as Josh Moss will take a carry. You're going to see a little bit of him as well with a 9-yard run to start. And DeShong will throw, and he will roll, and he's going to get sacked. That's Will Anderson getting in there again. 3rd and 12. Now, he can't take these kinds of sacks, but he makes up for it with a throw to Kalen Shanny for the first down. And a big 3rd down conversion as we go with Alex Venable with the carry. And Garrett Bowles, the tackle for us, is down. You have DeShong to throw, and DeShong gets sacked again. And it's going to be Will Anderson, Timothy Steele down. DeShong on 3rd and 20. Does he got another big conversion in us? Yes, he does. Kalen Shanny just gets loose deep. And Shanny with a big play. That's going to go for over 20 yards on a first down as Peralta will take the carry on first. He'll get us a yard. And nearing the red zone, DeShong will drop the throw from under center. Gets hit as he's thrown. Will Anderson got in there again. And with no Garrett Bowles, we're having a tough time guarding him as Mayer threw it up for him, and it's incomplete. We're going to just take the field goals. Daniel Carlson boots it through. We're having a really tough time now. Will Anderson was already playing good. Now Garrett Bowles out. And it's going to be Will Anderson wrecking everything as Tank Dell gets a catch on first down for 5 yards. And he will throw on 2nd down. There's Dalton Schultz. Stroud and Schultz starting to connect a little bit more in this second quarter as play action once again. Stroud will throw it deep for Tank Dell, and he's got it. Tank Dell with a catch over Jeremy Chin. And it's going to be a big game for the Texans as Stroud will go outside, incomplete. But a rare shot allowed from the Raiders, who have been so much better in coverage down the field. The Texans have already hit 2 big ones this game. And now Stroud on 3rd down will roll left, will throw up end zone, and it's just too far out of reach for Jacoby Myers. Texans will take a field goal with 2.5 to go. The Raiders have a deficit to try to overcome as Peralta, who's run the ball very well. The blocking, I can say, has been so impressive this game as Peralta's had some really wide open holes to run through. DeShong will throw over the middle to Mayer, who's got himself 4, hurrying it up. Is DeShong will drop the throw once more. He will go underneath again. That's Peralta. 3 yards. 3rd and 3. As DeShong will throw once more. What has he got for us? He's going to try to run it, and he can't get it. But we're going to go for it on 4th down with under 2 to go. DeShong will roll right, and he's sacked. That's Will Anderson again. And a banged up Garrett Bowles is not a good sign as the Texans have Dalton Schultz to the 20-yard line. They are threatening to take a 2-score lead as they go with the screen. They haven't done it in a few possessions. Doesn't work. Nate Hobbs gets in the backfield for a 2-yard loss as Stroud, very clean pocket, throws it underneath. Will get 3. 3rd down and 9. 40 seconds to play. Stroud will throw, caught, and it'll just be a field goal try. as the kick on the way. Almost blocked by Travis, but there's a flag. And that's going to be roughing the kicker. Almost got the block. Ends up taking out the kicker. And the Texans are going to accept. They have 1st and goal now, as Stroud sends his running back in motion. He's going to throw, and it's going to be underneath. Caught, touchdown. Dalton Schultz with his 2nd. And that is an unfortunate series of events, as we are now down 20-10, as Shanny, too far out of reach of his hands, as Deshaun will try to throw underneath, and that's going to be caught by Justin Perez, who gets out of bounds 3 yards. And as we close in on the end of the half, that's going to do it. Halftime has hit. Raiders couldn't do anything with that little time left. And unfortunately, we are going into half down 20-10, and the defense has struggled a little bit this game, as having to face one of the best quarterbacks in the league in Stroud is never going to be an easy task. We have Jacoby Myers motivated on a revenge game. Dalton Schultz, we still have some of these tight end issues. I think they are definitely less prevalent than they were last year. Covering tight ends has still been a bit of an issue. Devin Bush has gotten better. Stanley Camper's a rookie. It's a little rough, but we have a chance to come back in the second half. The run game's playing really well. I think we are making some great plays on 3rd down. Just need to limit some of these sacks. Will Anderson is really terrorizing this team right now. We got some work to do in this second half, and let's see if we can cut into this deficit as the Raiders start on offense with a 2-yard run to Peralta. Now we go with a handoff. No fake. It's Deshaun keeping on the outside for a 1st down and a lot more. Maybe we need to get Deshaun's legs going a bit more in this second half as we go with Peralta and 3 straight runs to start. The run game was pretty effective. Now we spread the field, go screen, and throw underneath the Sharu, and Sharu's got a lot of room, and Jaden Sharu, still one of the best catch and run guys in the league. And as he's developed his game everywhere else, you can sometimes forget about that, as now Colton Miller is banged up. And now we're down both of our tackles being healthy, but we have Venable on the outside, and Alex Venable breaking a tackle. And despite the injuries, the Raiders are moving it down the field. Deshaun will throw on 1st down. He'll get sacked, though. That's Collins getting in there. Deshaun 2nd down. He's going to throw end zone. Caught. Touchdown. Jaden Sharu, number 2. And it's going to be 20-17. And the Raiders start the second half on fire. Texans now got to respond as Stroud takes the field. And 25-yard line, he drops the throw. And he's going to be sacked by Tim Settle, and it's a fumble. And it's going to be picked up. And they are going to recover. But C.J. Stroud is a little banged up. And he's grabbing at his hamstring. He might have tweaked that hamstring. And it's going to be Davis Mills checking into this game. But he might be able to return later on, as Mills will throw outside. It's going to be caught for Jacoby Myers. And it's going to cut it down to a 3rd and 12. We will have an update on Stroud very shortly, as Mills will throw over the middle, and that was an open man, just missed him, as Deshaun will have a keeper, and Thomas Deshaun runs way wide, and he gets past Petrie, and Will Anderson gets 8 yards, and that is something few quarterbacks can do, as he runs it now left side, 1st down, gets down. Nice job protecting himself a little bit as we hand it off to Peralta. And I like the establishing of the run game in this second half, as it's been a lot more productive than we thought, as that's almost intercepted by Tim Wyrick as they go handoff. And it's going to be Peralta getting the 1st down. Deshaun will throw, and Thomas Deshaun will have it underneath Alex Peralta. It's going to be 5 yards, and 2nd and 5 now. Deshaun will roll right. Will Anderson's chasing, but Deshaun's going to try to outrun him. He can't. He throws it away. Nice job not taking the sack this time around, as Deshaun on 3rd down. He's going to take a shot deep for Sharu, and it's caught. 1st down and more, down to the 7-yard line. And Deshaun now out, and he just misses his man. Will Anderson giving chase again as Deshaun will throw end zone, incomplete. It's 3rd and goal. We need to capitalize, though, as Deshaun will roll left. Pressure incoming, and it's going to be incomplete. 4th and goal. The big Sharu play only nets us a field goal, but we will take the tie, as the 3rd quarter has been all Raiders. And that injury update on Stroud, he tweaked his hamstring, but he's okay. He's back in the game, and he's immediately going to Jacoby Myers for a 1st down, as Stroud's going to drop back twice in a row, and there's going to be Jacoby Myers twice in a row. I think Stroud's looking okay after that hamstring injury. Is on first down, he will throw, and that's going to be broken up, intended for Schultz. And now Stroud on second down will throw once again. That's going to be outside. A great throw and catch. Jacoby Myers once again. Davis will go on the ground. And Davis, that's going to be ruled a fumble. That's going to not really be a fumble, though. It's overturned. Texans recovered it anyway, as it doesn't really matter. Now this matters as Davis up the middle. Inside the 10, goal to go. They go Davis again. And he's not going to make it very far. Back to the line of scrimmage. They got 8 yards to go. As Stroud will pump left, will throw back right, and it's incomplete. Going for Tank Dell as 3rd and goal hits. And Stroud over the middle, caught, touchdown. And that is number 3 for Dalton Schultz. He has not done much of anything outside of the red zone, but when the red zone hits, he's gotten it in. And that's 3 for him. Now kickoff, it'll be Shanny. Back to return. He's taken out of the end zone as always. A Shanny will hurdle over a man, and Shanny breaks it to the outside. And Kalen Shanny past midfield to the 47. No touchdown on those 2 big returns, but 2 massive returns nonetheless to set us up in great field position. As Peralta will have no gain on first down. We throw underneath, and that's Kalen Shanny. Was quiet in the 3rd quarter, now in the 4th quarter, but he has had himself a great day through the air, and in the return game as Peralta will have a first down on 3rd down and 3. Now it's with 1st and 10 play action. Deshaun will roll and just get rid of the football. Pressure's been so rough as both of our tackles are playing banged up, throwing outside, and that's an impressive throwing catch. That's going to be Stroud, 3rd and inches. We're going to go to Peralta, and he has the first down. Now we're under 10 to go. We need to tie this game up as it's underneath, and that's Stroud once again. It's going to be 6 yards for him, and Stroud's had himself an amazing day. Throwing outside, and that is going to be Kalen Shanny. Down to 1st and goal at the 5. Throwing end zone, Justin Perez at the goal line. Can't hold on. Now read option. Deshaun running up ahead. He gets to the 2-yard line. It's 3rd and goal. And we're going to try to power it in with Deshaun. And Thomas Deshaun gets stopped. It's 4th and goal. Big play of the game. Deshaun, pressure in his face. He throws and it's caught. Touchdown. Kalen Shanny. And in the face of pressure, that's an incredible play. And he delivers the game-tying touchdown. This has been a fun game, and with 7 to go, it's 27-27. Davis takes the carry for 4 yards, and 2 quarterbacks playing. Very nice game so far as it's thrown underneath, broken up. 3rd down, Stroud, and he'll throw over the middle, and it's too far out of reach. The Raiders take over, and now we have a chance to really put some momentum on the board for us as Deshaun running wide. He has 6, and Deshaun with a little speed option. We don't run this very often. And Peralta, though, gets the pitch and gets the first down. And the Raiders now hand it off. No, it's a fake, and we are really getting Deshaun's legs going in the second half as he runs it ahead. And that is a gain of 28 yards. And we are down at the 24-yard line. 5 minutes to go, and we are in scoring position, throwing outside, and that's going to be caught for Justin Perez. Now triple option, and we are going to flip it out to Josh Moss, who's got it in a goal-to-go situation. Raiders will hand it. Venable getting everyone involved on the ground today, as now Deshaun, 2nd and goal. He's going to try to throw. He's sacked by Horton. Another 1st-round pick on that Texans D-line, and it's going to be 3rd and goal. Deshaun, end zone, has a man, and it's missed. It was an open man, and it was just a poor throw. Raiders settle for a field goal, and now it's going to be down to C.J. Stroud with under 3 to go to try to get a game-tying or game-winning drive. As 2nd down, he throws it underneath to Davis. It's going to set up a 3rd and 4 situation, and Stroud will throw, rolling right, going back left, and that's an impressive throw. Not many QBs in the league can make that one, and it's going to be 1st down at the 45. Stroud underneath, caught, and they have a lot of time as a minute and a half. They are definitely in position to get a field goal as they're going to go for it all on this play, and it's incomplete. Threw it up to Tank Dell. It's going to be 3rd down, incomplete. We are one play away, Raiders. Let's get this win as Stroud will throw. And he's got a tight window pass. And that's caught by Dalton Schultz. And a minute to go. The drive continues. The dream is alive for the Texans. And Davis has the catch. It's going to be second down. 45 seconds to play. They throw. And that's another amazing play. Caught. First down, 40 to go. Tank Dell has it at the 14-yard line. Stroud caught. Touchdown, Texans. And it is Jacoby Myers with 30 to play. And the Texans are on top. Got a bad matchup. And now the Raiders need a miracle if they're going to win this game. We had one last week with an amazing finish. And it's now we need it again. And now Deshaun throwing second down. Peralta's got it. It's going to be 3rd and inches. He couldn't get out of bounds. He couldn't get the first. Now it's going to be Deshaun rolling, getting rid of the football. Incomplete. Not much time left. And now 4th and inches. We just want to secure the first down, and we can't even do that. It's going to be blown up, and that's going to be game. Deshaun gets blown up in the backfield. We just wanted to secure the first, burn a timeout, and then try to take a couple of shots down the field. We couldn't even get that far. And that is a heartbreaking loss for our Raiders. It's going to be 34-30. And the Texans come on the road. And Jacoby Myers has his revenge game. Such a heartbreaking way to lose, but I think this team, we played pretty well. We just had some issues on defense, but stopping one of the best QBs in the league is always going to be that difficult. It's Jacoby Myers going for 10 catches. Dalton Schultz, 3 touchdowns. Both Shanny and Stroud had amazing games. Fortunate loss, but we are on to the next game as I simulated the next one as I played back-to-back. The Packers and Texans games back-to-back. I thought this one would be a bit more interesting. It proved to be. But as we simulate a divisional game against the Denver Broncos, we get back on track with a 14-point victory as Thomas Deshaun, not a whole lot of yards, but he throws for 2 touchdowns and runs for 2 more. So a nice 4-touchdown game from Deshaun. And Kalen Shanny catches a touchdown. Our Raiders now, about at the midpoint of the season, sit at 5-4, very much in the playoff hunt. But now, as we move things on, we are getting to the college football update for this episode. This is your college football update for weeks 8 and 9 of the college football season. And while number 1 stays the same, with Texas being on top, we have movement elsewhere. And let's get into week 8 of the college season as Ohio State put the beating on Northwestern, and they move up to number 3 in the country. Michigan in the big-time Big Ten showdown between them and Northern Illinois. It was 7 versus 8, and Michigan pulled off the victory. Northern Illinois might be a rising star of a program, but they ran into the powerhouse known as Michigan, and they got checked. The balance of power still remains in Ohio State and Michigan's hands, but Northern Illinois and Penn State not too far behind, as they are both still very much contenders in the Big Ten. And in the big Week 8 matchup, the game of the week in Week 8, it was Clemson versus Florida State. Big rivalry game, big ACC showdown, and Clemson picked up the victory as Florida State loses 23-20, and unfortunately for Florida State, they dropped down to 11. Clemson up to number 8. Now let's move on to week 9 as Oklahoma State jumps into the top 15 with a win over Oklahoma, who gets knocked out of the top 15. Oregon with a big time upset. They were already number 15. We kind of talked about him a little bit lurking. And Delbert Conroy, though, has another massive game as Conroy goes for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns to help Oregon take down number 2 UCLA, and UCLA drops down to number 6. And in our final notable game, Oregon State picks up a upset victory over Stanford, who drops down to number 14. But now let's look ahead to next week, where we have more fun games. We have Stanford trying to bounce back. They're facing number 5 USC. We have LSU Alabama, the yearly showdown between those two teams, which has always proven to be a fun one. LSU has beaten Alabama 3 straight times, so let's see if Alabama can try to right the wrongs of years past. Auburn will be taking on Georgia. And in week 11, we have Texas, Oklahoma State, which has now become number 1 versus number 15, as 2 Heisman candidates will show down. We have Northern Illinois taking on Ohio State. Not a fun stretch of weeks for Ohio State and Northern Illinois, as once you get into the meat of that Big Ten schedule, you are facing a bunch of whole great teams. And Northern Illinois, they dropped one to Michigan. Let's see if they can rebound against Ohio State, who they've developed quite a rivalry with Ohio State over the few years. And we have Florida State versus North Carolina. So now that we have all that out of the way, we can get into some of these players. Up first, we have a duo to talk about out of that Northern Illinois versus Michigan game. We will start off with the Michigan player, and it is linebacker Martin McPeak. And if I want to, go to the comparison straight away, if you guys remember in the 2000s linebacker Takeo Spikes, I think this is a very nice comparison for McPeak, as for some it's a positive, for some it's a knock. It's always a big thing in, the NFL as we move ahead and move into the new athleticism of different players. He's more of the old school linebacker. A lot of people take it as a negative. A lot of people will just say that just means he's not as athletic. But I don't really think that's the case here, as because you look at his strengths, man. Incredible tackler, will rack them up. Should be a guy who gets 100 tackles every year, and it's not just like he's one of those guys who kind of lets the play flow into him and he racks up the stats. No, he goes out there and he makes sure he gets the tackle. He wants the tackle. And not only that, he is hitting dudes. He isn't just wrapping them up and bringing them down. He is laying his shoulder right into their chest. He has forced a number of fumbles in his college career. He's got 3 last season. He's already got 2 so far this season. And these aren't punch outs. These aren't rip outs. These are just hitting someone so hard that ball comes flying out. He's going to come into the league as one of the hardest hitting players day one. And if you want that to be maybe a bit of a negative, is, he might get a couple of fines, maybe get suspended a game or 2, because he doesn't play dirty. He just hits hard. So not a dirty player, just a hard hitter. But great burst off the start of the play, despite his maybe lack of overall speed, for a guy his size at 255 pounds. Very quick diagnosing the play, and he shoots through the gap on run defense. And if you want other weaknesses, he's pretty average in coverage. He's not a guy you exactly are drafting to be a coverage specialist. He's not a guy you are drafting to really help your team in that area. He definitely complements best with a linebacker who does play effectively on third down situations and passing situations. And also, just due to his play style, he has been a guy who's been banged up a couple of times in his career. He's definitely had his fair share of injuries, so if you are worried about that and his physicality potentially making him have a short career, I think that's where you see him go mid to late first round. I think he's a great player, though, and he should add a level of physicality, and, he's definitely one of those culture players where it's like he sets the tone for the team. How about up next, we go to the other side, and this is Northern Illinois edge rusher Jason Weber. And once again, I think this is a very accurate comparison. I am going to go Zadarius Smith for him. He is 6'3", 273 coming off the edge. You don't see many edge rushers coming off the edge at that size anymore, as, once again, as we move years forward, we are going more the size of smaller, more faster. You're seeing edge rushers nowadays run 4.4s, 4.5s. They are flying off the edge. They got crazy bend. They are making incredible plays. He's not that. If we want to dive into that, he's probably going to run a 4.7, optimistically a 4.6-ish. That's maybe optimistic. And because of that, at 273, doesn't have crazy bend. He's not going to make some of these wild plays and get underneath tackles and everything. But for, him as a player, super high motor, super relentless. He just wears the offense down, kind of like how the whole thing with Derrick Henry was when, Derrick Henry, he'd start the game and he'd have 15 carries for 35 yards. But once he hit the fourth quarter, that defense is not trying to tackle Derrick Henry. And then that's when he goes off, has 60 yards. And then you end up looking at the end, he has 20 carries for 120 yards and a touchdown. It's how did that happen? Jason Weber is kind of like that. In the first half, maybe he's not going to put up crazy numbers. He's not going to get to the quarterback a whole lot, but he is going to just be relentless. And by the time the fourth quarter hits, that's when he shines. By then, everyone's got their hands on their knees and he is out there ready to go like the game just started. So for that reason, crazy high motor, 3-down rusher, does not take a play off. So if you want just that relentless, just workhorse player, Jason Weber is that kind of guy. Now, I think he does have a limited ceiling, as a lot of his traits are more attributed to less natural athleticism, more just the, stamina, his motor, his intangibles, his mental, his everything. So I think that limits its upside a decent bit, but he can still be a nice piece to an edge rush team. Definitely a number 2 guy, but I think a very nice piece to a defense. I think one of those contending teams, that's why I have him going late first round. I think one of those contending teams is really going to covet a guy like Jason Weber. And how about we shift over to our third player and one of the best players in this class, an early first round grade for him. It is tackle from Florida State. I know they lost this past week, but it was no fault of this guy right here, Rashad Bookout from Florida State. And once again, as we really harp on some of these comparisons, I think these are some really accurate ones. Laramie Tunsil, I think that's about as accurate as it gets for Bookout. I mean, Laramie Tunsil has consistently been a top 5 tackle in the league for a very long time, and one of the cornerstones of a team that has really, really valued his success, whether it's from Miami all the way to Houston. He is an amazing athlete who moves very well with his feet and his hands. He will not let guys go. Like, he's rock solid blocker. He locks dudes up. He just does not. He does not let people through. Like, he, when people call like these tackles turnstiles, he's the opposite of that. He chains them up. And he plays left tackle, so I think his value is inherently more than a guy we talked about early on this season in Blaine Hastings. It's a really good tackle class with Hastings and Bookout. 2 guys who could very well be top 5 picks in this draft. I think Bookout is probably the better prospect because he can play left tackle and because of what he, just adds to the team. Like, he does not allow much. He allowed 1 sack last year, none so far this year. He's also pretty good in the run game, I think better than a guy like Blaine Hastings. He can dominate in the run game. He can move people too. Like, he can get out on the move and then move people. There's been times where they run something to the outside and they're pulling Bookout at tackle, and he's out there lead blocking for some of these guys. He can play a multitude of positions. Hastings, meanwhile, was a guy who basically locked in at right tackle. Bookout can play any of the offensive line positions, essentially. Maybe not center that much. I mean, it's kind of a waste if you put him at center, but he can play everywhere else. Now, if you want some negatives on him, he does lock people up and his athleticism is great. He can sometimes get bullied a little bit, he can get a little worn down. And I think this, goes back to a guy like Jason Weber we talked about. Like, he'd struggle a little bit with Jason Weber. Jason Weber would be a guy who he'd push him around a little bit. He'd knock him back, by the time the fourth quarter came. He moves people in the run game. Sometimes he gets a little moved in the passing game, but while that's his biggest weakness, it's his only major flaw as a player, because elsewhere, I don't really think he has many weaknesses just as a player. And his second weakness, I have him just a few minor injuries. He gets banged up every once in a while. It happens. But for him, it's his knee injuries. He's had a couple of knee injuries. No ACL tears or anything like that. But, a little strain, a little partial tear, little things, missed a handful of games here and there. So keep an eye out for that. But as a player, he's about as good as it gets. He'll be a top 5 pick in this draft, and he's going to be a franchise left tackle for anyone that drafts him. I think when we look back to last year's draft, Gale Dell was the top pick for tackles last year. Bookout's better than a guy like Gale Dell. Bookout is, closer to a lineman like AJ Perkins, who was taken in year 1 for the Dolphins. He's that level of he's going to be good. So I don't think there's really any, debate on how good Bookout's going to be. It's just a matter of how good he's going to be. But that will do it for this episode, and in the next one, we will be taking on the LA Chargers on the road, and it is a big-time divisional matchup as we are 5-4. The Chargers are coming off their bye. They are 4-4, and while the Chiefs reign atop the AFC West for now, every team behind them is all fighting as this division sent you know, like every team to the playoffs almost, aside from us last year. I mean, the fact that everyone except for us had a winning record last year, a little rough. It's a strong division, and games like this go a long way in determining, you know, not just potential division winners, but wild card seeding, as well as we're going to get at least 2 to 3 teams from this division in the playoff hunt. So let's see if we can have a big time win over the Chargers. I will see you all in the next one.